Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Propagandacast with me, Imperial Dane. Today we have a submission by Broken, whom you may know from the Company of Heroes forums. A 2 vs 2 fight on Point Du Hoc. Not entirely sure if that's how it's pronounced, but I'm not French, so I wouldn't know. Along with Broken, who is playing as the Wehrmacht, we have Dutch as the Panzer Elite, and he's gone for the Kettenkrad and not the Schwimmwagen, so that's what we at least know for now. On the opposite side we have the British under Mercat and Moreno as the Americans. A few vital points on this map is the central victory point that can be covered by machine guns from either this or this building, and are usually found to be so. In the north we have another victory point, which is usually also the site of heavy fighting from the two northern players on either side, and it can also usually be found being covered from this building with a machine gun, usually from the commander in this spot. Finally we have this munitions point, which cuts off this entire area, creating a large divide between the two sides, plus also has these two bunkers which can cover this victory point and this fuel point. So these are the major usual fighting site points, although of course sometimes can change and differ from fight to fight. It all depends on the choices made by commanders. Anyhow, let's get started. Oops, sorry for the quick camera movement, but we have Broken laying down a Wehrmacht quarters, Dutch moving out with his Kettenkrad, eagerly trying to seize probably this munitions point, as is, as I said, one of the more vital points for some. We have Moreno skipping building anything and going directly for, he's getting a barracks now, but he's getting also a third engineer squad. We have the recon section moving towards the center as well, and something being created out of the headquarters truck, another infantry section, and a third unit is already on the way as well. We have Broken securing the nearby strategic points, and now the headquarters command truck is moving up, ready to probably seize this point, as it's usual for some players to quickly send out their infantry recon section, take a point, and then instantly move the headquarters towards that point. The more slower unled infantry section apparently being used to secure the rear areas. And already the fuel point has been connected and the recon section is moving up. Panzer Grenadier and are clashing with the first Panzer Grenadier team. First one is here clashing with the engineers at the munitions point. Already fighting is taking place there. HQ truck moving up and emplacing itself at this fuel point, giving the British and American player more fuel, and also preventing any player from actually seizing the fuel point, thus denying it, and also creating a reinforcement point right in the middle of the map for any of the allies. And we have a motorbike out for the Germans. And Broken has moved a machine gun into this building, which is a bit rare, especially this early into the game, but apparently he has a plan with it. Engineers moving forward and unknowing of the machine gun position and taking heavy fire, losing men numerous. Will they get out in time? Yes, they will. Oh no! One completely dead and two writhing in pain, screaming for medics. At the same time, Mercat is building a mortar pit to cover the central position and make any attempt at attacking them that much harder. Dutch sent some Panzer Grenadiers into one of the bunkers to cover the central. That munition point. Trouble is with these bunkers is you can usually only have one man firing out of the slot, making them only practical for machine guns in fact, and now he keeps sending more Panzer Grenadiers into them. which won't really do him any good. Perhaps if he'd sent into there, but I'd still have recommended sending something else in, or not at all, because he's just diminishing the amount of firepower he can get out and making his men slightly larger targets. In this case, Broken holding on to the northern point. The British player doesn't really seem to be trying to contesting it much, instead focusing on the central point, seizing another fuel point. The Panzer Grenadiers are now finding themselves under heavy mortar fire from the British central position. Broken continuing to secure the northern site. Volksgrenadiers moving in to support, while the 2nd Infantry Section has been forced back. American infantry is reinforcing at the headquarters truck, and a lieutenant is out for the British to encourage the infantrymen to be a bit faster and a bit more accurate. Another machine gun team is out for Broken, and a logistic company is out for Dutch. If he's actually going to use it to just have it as a step towards a higher tier building, we'll have to see. And now Broken is securing the British HQ sector, where it started out by bypassing one of the base MGs through this spot, and generally most players probably won't be aware of it until it's too late, so you may want to keep that in mind. Also, if you are in this spot, you may want to block it off, so at least you have some time to spot it. And a second mortar pit is going down. A bit excessive, I think, but at the same time, if used properly, it can really lay down a lot of mortar fire, making any sort of movement that much more difficult. Broken trying to clear out the Vickers machine gun emplacement with his pioneers, getting flamethrowers for them, so it'll be that much easier. And we have a support truck for the British, and at the same time we have a weapon support center for the Americans, and a mortar team as well, which has begun to open fire on Broken's centrally placed machine gun team. At the same time, the Allies have completely secured the southern half of the map, with little to resist them. Broken is apparently securing munitions from a wrecked tank from a much previous time. I'm not entirely sure if that's intentional, but apparently Broken is doing it. So, might be want something really to fix. And the machine gun emplacement has been cleared out, leaving only one left, and also leaving the British without their starting sector, which can be a bit dangerous, since this will be the point any sort of reinforcements coming in, meaning that Broken in all practical sense can in fact ambush any new units being called in or any further trucks. A Creek barracks going up, and another machine gun team to replace the one that was apparently blown out of this building. An assault is launched with armored cars on the main British position. A brave lieutenant trying to hold off the combined German assault, but finding himself surrounded by Panzer Grenadiers and shot without mercy. Infantry section finding himself surrounded, gunned down, out in the open. Really not something you want to be found yourself in, while the Germans themselves have occupied the central trench, and are at the same time have received the squad increase upgrade from this logistic company, meaning they can be now 4-man squads, which is something some Panzer Grenadier players will go for, although I generally tend to wait for that a bit until I'm further into the fight. But that's just me. Mortar fire raining down on the Panzer Grenadiers while they're trying to clear out the mortar pit. Slow progress, but they are still making some nonetheless. Americans slaughtered on the road, and one should note that roads like this provide negative cover, meaning they'll be easier to hit and take more damage. So in this case, a tragic massacre for the American player. Further heavy fighting in the north as the Americans trying to hold back their Broken's Wehrmacht troops, since there is no British player to cover that site. At the same time, Broken is in fact mining the northern road, meaning that any trucks will be damaged and have a much harder time actually moving. At the same time, this munition point has been secured by the British, or is it the fuel point? I can't really see. Oh wait, it must be the fuel point, meaning they'll get even more fuel, although going for low fuel points perhaps is a bit of a waste of a truck when there are other nearby that could perhaps provide more fuel or munitions. The mortar pit still holding out, and the British, having secured the central area again with the aid of the Americans, now having sappers with Piats, providing a much greater threat to the Panzer Elite armored car, which is forced to retreat, and has apparently caught fire somehow. The Panzer Grenadiers preparing for another fight, and Broken using the defensive operations upgrade as well to heal his own heavy machine gunners, since that upgrade also applies to any nearby Allied troops that are near the headquarters and any forward barracks, since defensive operations also means they can heal troops.